That's his original name and his surname. Do you have one, my brother, besides the Georges?
Oh, all right, good.
Yeah? Your full names and your surname?
Yeah, Litin.
I'm Piccolomzi Adonis. When you engage with people, I can
Okay,
even
George Mhlope.
George Mhlope. Okay. No, that's fine. No, guys, I think the issue has been very clear on this platform that our neighbors, particularly the concept of Zimbabwean, it's a very critical issue that we need to be dealing with. I'm in the Eastern Cape, but all of these private schools here, particularly those who are owned by Indians, they have employed Zimbabweans. I happened to take my kid in one of those schools, and I can tell you, they employ a principal, the Zimbabwean. That whole school, you can even feel that, no, man, this is Zimbabwe now. The accent of our kids taught by them, it changes because when they pronounce the names, you can feel that they are not South Africans. Basically, the responsibility that we always give to the advice of the neighbors there, they deny to take advices. I think what Peels has just said, that there is no way that we are going to be begging. The wheels are turning in South Africa, particularly on the political landscape. It's a fact. When the ZANU-PF is going to rule them forever, in South Africa, the ANC will never rule us forever. In fact, we have demonstrated that in 2024, and we can tell them for free that the ANC, the president from the ANC, this one that we are having is going to be the last president from the ANC. Patriotic South Africans are going to negotiate in the 2029 provincial and national elections who is going to be our president. That one, we are going to force it to the system, because no party will be having majority, whether by rigging or whether by what. They won't win anything. So that is the culture of South Africans. We are not walkovers. Whether we stay in rural areas, poor backgrounds, there are many people who are poor in South Africa. Many, particularly the province where I come from. They still fight for their living in their places of birth, you see. So this thing of I've had one Somali, was a Somalian guy who came here, or Pakistani guy, saying South Africa is a safe haven for Africa. I think we had been too much practicing Ubuntu, which is unnecessary, because in the process of opening windows, we have attracted flies, and now we are stuck. We wanted fresh air. When we opened our constitution and when we opened our immigration laws to skilled people, critical skills, and then ultimately the government of this country allow our country to be infiltrated by people that we don't need them here. So I just want to encourage patriots that the wheels of political discourse in our country, they are changing, and it's soon becoming, it was a taboo to call the people foreigners and all of that, and we were afraid of being termed xenophobic after 1998. Let me tell you now, that has changed. We wear the badge of xenophobic proudly now, and fortunately enough, we are getting following in terms of the country needs to get back to their original people who fought for it. So by those words, patriots, I just wanted to encourage that let's get stronger and stronger and keep hammering these issues. And this government, they have collapsed themselves. They're having an NGC there, and they have collapsed themselves. They're tripartite. So it's time that Danko.
Thank you so much. 100% South African welcome leadership.
Greetings, host. Thank you for accepting my request. Greetings, panelists, etc., etc. Firstly, I'm not convinced that there are Zimbabweans who are genuinely fighting to liberate their country. You know, host, one thing that is not spoken enough, ZANU-PF is one of the the least sophisticated governments or the least sophisticated oppressors. And when we ask this question, we are using our own history as a point of reference, which is why it's frustrating, because we are not talking in a vacuum hypothesis. We are talking about tasks that were performed by our own leaders from exile in order to put pressure on apartheid so that the government relents its oppressive policy. You know, so when we ask, what are you doing abroad? You know, we had artists, hosts like Miriam Makeba, who used the platform that she was enjoying in order to advocate for the freedom of her people. Have you seen any such a thing with Zimbabweans? You know, there were songs which were popularized against apartheid. You know, people were using everything at their disposal in order to fight apartheid from exile, from the safety of exile, you know. So we don't see the same movement by Zimbabweans, unfortunately. And they can never do anything to convince us otherwise, you know, because there are things that you cannot hide, host, especially in this time of social media. You can't say, no, we are fighting, but nobody sees anything. There's no social media advocacy. There's nothing that is tangible, which Zimbabweans are doing. You know, I can understand to say we can see them fighting, but it's not easy. They are having a hard time. You are more likely to see a Zimbabwean just enjoying life abroad than you are likely to see a Zimbabwean marching against the Zimbabwean government, maybe marching to the Zimbabwean embassy in South Africa, wherever. They just don't care, host. And, you know, it will be forgivable if they were not as arrogant as they are when they are in foreign countries, you know. You can forgive a downtrodden person if they actually carry themselves as a downtrodden person. But you find that they carry themselves with arrogance, you know, like they know too much, which is why we end up asking them to say, if you are so educated, what about ZANU-PF? I mean, ZANU-PF, man, you remember just recently they were posting about how they would get rid of white people. I don't know if they said they defecated at the gate or what they would do. Something just pathetic like that, you know. And this is the government that we are supposed to believe is an insurmountable challenge for Zimbabwe. It's been 20 years since Mugabe did those disastrous land grabs. It's been how many years since they got their freedom? I think they got it in 1981, I don't know. It's been that long, 40-something years since they got their freedom. They've never tasted actual freedom. You know, they've just been switched between oppressors of a different color. They went from white oppression to black oppression. Now, how much time do they need to make a difference in their country? Host, you know, when they talk about exile, we literally stayed to round it off, 30 years in exile, because it started in the 60s and it ended in the 90s. And as soon as Mandela was released, the exiles were already coming back, even before it was official that apartheid was over. It's almost like South Africans abroad couldn't wait to come back to their homeland, you know. I remember Chris Hani say he just wanted to enjoy hearing his own people speaking their own language, you know. This is illustrative that Chris Hani was never comfortable in a foreign country. But the problem with Zimbabweans is that they are able to feel comfortable in foreign countries. I mean, when you talk about such situations, you see that we have actually given them the same amount of time which we spent in exile. We spent 30 years. They've been coming here since 1994, which also gives them 30 years, you know, to have made a difference. Not even an inch. They haven't even moved an inch towards changing the situation in Zimbabwe. These people are playing in South Africa. Some of them are not even sending money back home. They are busy with slave queens here in South Africa. You know, there's hardly a sign of an organization that is doing something to change Zimbabwe. So these people are just playing the sympathy card, which they really don't deserve. They need to go back home. Maybe the stress and discomfort of being in Zimbabwe will be a daily reminder of their duty to change their situation. Because in London, I think they are focused on enjoying speaking with the British accent and drinking high tea, you know, scones, things that happen in Britain, you know. We know in South Africa they are busy with savannas and slave queens and boasting about money and petty bourgeois successes, you know. So they are not serious. Like, there's no sign of Zimbabwean seriousness about. You'll only hear it from their mouth when they are claiming on this TikTok panel. Host, the other day, there was a story which broke out of two Zimbabweans who were unalived by the state. You know, they hosted a panel which was just ceremonial. You know why they hosted that panel, host? It's because we are accusing them daily to say, why do you always have your nose in our business when you are not talking about your business? So they decided to open that panel just to fill in that space to say, hey, we did it. We opened a panel, we spoke about it, and that's it. And I can guarantee you 2 lives were lost. That was the only panel that was open, and that was the end of it. To show that they didn't open this panel out of genuine outrage, out of genuine intention to change the situation through TikTok, advocacy, whatever. They just opened it to hide embarrassment from Tutula, you know, so that, guys, when Tutulas ask us, we can say that we did open a panel. I don't know what you want from us, you know. So the value of life in these countries is very cheap, guys. Zimbabweans have become desensitized to the loss of life of even their own fellow Zimbabweans, which is unfortunate. So what is bizarre is why they expect us to care about them when they don't even care about themselves and each other. Thank you, host.
Thank you so much, leadership. Powerful as always. I really appreciate that. I don't know why people dropped when you started talking, but that was beautiful. And thank you so much. Moyo, welcome.
Hello, my sister. I was hearing a lot of stuff, very nice stuff. I'm happy to be a Zimbabwean. And I'm one guy who admit that, no, Zimbabweans, we are coward. And there's one thing you guys don't see from us as Zimbabweans. We really know that we are cowards. Rimagwala, it's true. But in some cases, you must learn what's happening there in Zim as far as harassment, ill treatment from the same government of ZANU-PF, which many and most of you says we must go and put it into order. Most of our relatives, our friends, our parents have been dying trying to do the same thing you guys are here preaching here for us to go and do. I regret to be in SA, but at the same time, I'm thankful to South Africans. I'm one guy who's thankful to you. And I don't go around telling stories which are not tangible as far as South Africans are concerned, because right now I know the frustrations. I know the situations, how hard it is. We hear what the patriots are saying, SA patriots, concerning Zimbabweans. It's true that it's now into our ears and hearts. It's only that you can't see. Many Zimbabweans are not seeing 4 months in SA, 5 months in SA. Some have already gone. It's true. Others are reluctant. But most of us, like myself, I'm telling you, we have heard your story and we will be forever thankful. We are that side of Zimbabwe which can see that it's now high time we must go back home and try to just accept our situation. There's nothing we can do to ZANU-PF. I have to admit, there's nothing we can do. I'm sure those of you, the diplomats who have seen Ibo Mandaza, to those who know Ibo Mandaza, all the opposition parties, I'm sure it's only 2 months or a month and a half ago, they tried to sit down as opposition parties to frame a way forward on how they can tackle ZANU-PF, but their meeting place was banned and they were chased away. So that's the situation. We are in a situation whereby we have a very hostile ruling party. That one we cannot compare it to that apartheid government, as some of you were saying 1 hour ago. This one is more hostile. UK, US, whosoever international knows the Zimbabwean situation. People have been protesting on all sorts and all platforms. I don't know where some of us here are getting lost to say Zimbabweans are relaxing, they don't even protest, they don't even show, they don't even do this. They've tried, Zimbabweans have tried. So it's like our last option is only to say, what can I do? Let me go to Botswana, let me go to Mozambique, let me go to Zambia, let me go to South Africa. It's not like we like to leave our homes. It's not like that. Please, I'm happy for this platform. It also gives us some space to say words, though they are not acceptable. I was trying to get it from Bra George. George, it's unfortunate that he is far. That one is far. There's nothing he can say or do. But for us who are very close to home, I'm telling you guys, we have heard your story. We can even see how it is, what MK is doing, what Jacinta is doing, what Zandile is doing, what Mackenzie is doing, what everybody and all of you are saying. We are getting it nicely, 100%. And you know what? This time we will not be cowards. I'm sure it's only a few number of days, if not months, when most of these Zimbabweans have smelled the coffee. I'm sure it's high time now we have to go. And we'll be forever. Thank you guys for the hospitality. You have been too good to us. Thank you.
You can jump in, Kaiser, before I move over to new speakers. Thank you, Moyo.
Okay, I just wanted to deal with this point that ZANU-PF is more hostile than the apartheid government. I want to just use letter bombs as an example. I'll read from this passage. The apartheid era South African government used letter bombs as a tool of assassination and intimidation against anti-apartheid activists, both within the country and in exile. Several individuals were targets of these attacks, with some being unalived and others being severely injured. Perpetrators, including spy Craig Williamson and explosive maker Jerry Raven, later confessed their roles to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. and were granted amnesty for their crimes. Key individuals targeted by letter bombs include Abraham Nkgoposi Tiro, a prominent students and Black consciousness movement activist. Tiro was unalived by a parcel bomb in Botswana. His family later requested the TRC's help in repatriating his remains for a proper burial. Ruth First, 1982, a journalist, scholar, and anti-apartheid activist and wife of communist leader Joe Slovo. First was unalived by a parcel bomb sent to her office at a university in Maputo, Zimbabwe. Janet Skoon and her daughter. Janet Skoon, an ANC activist, and her 6-year-old daughter were unalived by a letter. 6-year-old daughter. Now, I want you to keep in mind that you told me that ZANU is more hostile than the apartheid government. The intended target was likely her husband, Maria Skoon, another activist who had exposed Williamson as a spy. Father Michael Lapsley, an Anglican priest and vocal anti-apartheid critic. Father Lapsley was severely injured when a parcel bomb with a South African postmark exploded as he opened it in Harare, Zimbabwe. He lost both hands and eye, but became a prominent advocate for healing and reconciliation, working with a trauma center. Now, this is to illustrate that these people were being attacked in exile, meaning you were not safe even when you were in exile, when you were against apartheid. Now, how does the ZANU, this pathetic ZANU government measure up to that in terms of hostility?
Okay, thank you, my brother. You know, there's one thing I have to admit from whatever you were saying. You were saying with names, it's good that you have the records. Do you know that in Zim we have a mass grave or graves of the unknowns who at last they said...
Let's move on to new speakers. Nhlanzenhle, please come in.
Evening, patriots, and everybody and everyone else in the panel. My issue here, by the look of things, it seems like you can talk all day and night, and nothing is going to change here, because seemingly we are just dealing with people who have totally given up on their countries. Every chance that these people get, their concern is more of how South Africa should be responsible for them. They are not being patriotic enough in as far as trying to find assistance, if need be, to find assistance in order to fight their corrupt governments. Because right now, they gain freedom before us, but it seems like it was more of a change of ownership from one slave master to another. And this shows that the skin color alone does not necessarily mean that you are my brother or you are not my brother. We need to judge by the character of a person. Then we can say, okay, this is my brother, this is my enemy. Because we can be of the same parents and still be enemies. It happens a lot. So I'm very, very much worried about our fellow African brothers and sisters, because seemingly it seems as though they've given up, and all they can just do is to blame us for everything that is bad happening to them. Like, we are hosting the biggest number of immigrants in Africa, yet we are being labeled xenophobic and being given all sorts of all types of names, and no one dares to stand up and challenge their governments No one dares stand up and no one is trying to hold their government accountable, because we are even having the problem of our leaders here in South Africa. Instead of blaming all these black governments oppressing other black people, they call us names. I don't think we'll get anywhere with these people, because seemingly it is though that they've totally given up. Like there's no hope at all.
Yeah, ne. Hi. Mamen Sirubeli, welcome.
Thank you. You know, it's funny that they always come to our lives and say that we should be patient and stuff like that, ne? But I always reiterate that even if we were patient with them, why are they always siding with other countries? Like my latest submission, I said that if a Zimbabwean were to see a Nigerian kidnapping a South African child, they will help them. They will even help that person to sell the child and share the money. But they always come here and say, no, be patient with us. You know, ZANU-PF, it's difficult to take them out. Listen, it's not easy for Jasanqa to sleep. It's not easy for Zandile to sleep. It's not easy for Victoria to sleep. Even more worse, they're not only dealing with our government, but they're also dealing with the Pakistan mafias. Remember, Zandile did say that they contacted her and they said they contacted Operation Dudula as a group, and they said, no, we don't want them, and we want that lady. We want to communicate with that lady. Do you think she ever sleeps right now? But every morning, she makes the decision that, you know what, this is my country, the future of my children, I will fight for it. Right now, her life has changed. She can't just go to a Pick and Pay and just buy bread. She can't. Because she made a decision that her country first, before her children, before her husband, before her marriage, before her life. And we must sit here and listen to men saying, ZANU-PF, ZANU-PF. It's unfair. So your life is worth more than anyone else. We must be unalived. Our blood must be spilled once more again. For you to say, no, ZANU-PF, ZANU-PF. Our ancestors spilled blood for us to be here. Now you want Zandile to be unalived for you to be here. No ways. You want South African women, it was first South African men, now you want South African women to spill blood. Just for you to be coward and say, no, South Africa, you know, no. You are busy bearing stateless and international orphan children. You know, it's a shame. There's a neighborhood where I pass, ne? There was this other time I passed at 9 at night. And it was during exams. And I asked, I was like, why are these children in the streets? They say, no, they're Zimbabwean children. They don't go to school. So, and then I asked, I was like, so the parents are literally, they are literally selfish. Because once they are now old and gray and are unalived, what's going to happen to those children? No education, nothing. But they are in South Africa. And we are going to dudula them. Instead of going to Zimbabwe, struggling in Zimbabwe, at least they'll get an education and they can make a better life, take it forward. Not be the next generation of beggars and jackpers who must be unalived for you to live the soft life. While ZANU-PF is collecting taxes from, because they're literally collecting taxes from other countries, because when you send money back, they tax that money. And they're buying cars with that money. So we are paying tax to our government and even ZANU-PF. And even you. How enough is enough. Now your children are using our tax money to go to school. Your women want to give birth in our hospital. When something goes wrong, they want to sue. They're not saying, South Africa, at least you tried. There was a story of a woman who was in Zimbabwe about to give birth. The doctor said, no, your birth is complicated. Go to South Africa. She came to South Africa. She didn't even disclose that it was flagged as a dangerous birth. She tried to give birth. The child didn't make it. She sued the government. That's the patient that you want from us. You want us to understand that you are taking our tax money, you are taking our school, you are suing our doctors. Soon our doctors are going to say, no, we can't anymore. Now you want South African women to be unalived so that you can live a nice life in South Africa. South African men were unalived, black men were unalived by the apartheid government. They were fighting for this country. South African men were unalived for minimum wage, which you are undermining. Now South African women are fighting for this country and you are still here. Leparami, cowards, doing nothing. Men looking at Zandile. They're even making jokes. They were celebrating when she was, what's this? With her eyes. When they were, yes. They were making jokes. They're busy making jokes about Zandile. But at the same time, they want to be in Zandile's country and enjoy the benefits that she's fighting for. Men of Zimbabwe, men of Nigeria, men of Somalia, looking at South African women and wanting to bribe them. What a shame of African men. At least South African men are behind them, are pushing them, are supporting them. They know that they played their part. Now it's time to see what South African women, how they can shape this country. And they are not even jealous. They are here to encourage us. But African men, some of them call themselves African giants. They look at Zandile, instead of taking an example from her, they would rather draw pictures of her, hilarious pictures of her, and post them and say that she was unalived. That's what you do, African men. You know, when you go on YouTube, they say South African men are weak. South African men are kings of Africa. They fought, they were unalived, blood was spilled. Now they can see that they've done their part. Now they need their women to shape South Africa. They are backing them. They are backing South African women. We have the best men ever. They built this community. They fought for this community. Other African men are just useless. You just have the equipment. You are not even men. You just have the equipment. All you are doing is bearing stateless international offense. And you are proud of it. Look at Nigerian men. They are busy going to the UK, marrying 70-year-old women, white women. And still with that money, they don't even develop their country. They are busy marrying young men, 21-year-old.
Just a second, Ruben. You know, there's a dog here on the panel. When I'm Kotoi. No,
I know the caller's name. It's fine. They've done that with South African men. They are doing that with South African women.
This is typical Kwere behavior. He even has the audacity to stay on the panel.
No, Kaiser, they're projecting. They're projecting. He's hurt because a woman, a South African woman, is telling him the truth. Is telling him the truth. They're projecting. They are the ones who are useless. Because they are going across the across the world, across the ocean to marry 72-year-old women for their pension fund, for the green card.
Thank you so much. By the way, Nova, thank you so much, leadership. No, they're feeling the heat, Mamin Surubeli. Ground joke. They can feel the hate. I'm telling you.
No, they lost their manhood. They lost their manhood a long time ago.
You know, Mamens Ruben, the way these people have bad luck, they were laughing at Zandile for being pepper sprayed. not long after, 2 of their own were unalived. And 2 Tutulas were arrested and released, I think the same day or the next day, intact, safe and sound. They have bad luck. Whenever they behave the way they do, something bad happens. And I hope this bastard is also another curse on Zimbabweans. You know, I hope something soon is coming just as a consequence of his misbehavior here.
You know, Kaiser, we South Africans, we have gold in us, the women of South Africa, and in the men of you. If you can see, the world is targeting us from different angles. Even this thing of women for change or whatever, they're trying to make us the South African men and South African women to fight. We have something. We have something. They can see that now South African men are backing up South African women. They can see that we are living in harmony and in all angles to attack us, and we are not backing out. We are the kings of Africa, guys. We are the kings of Africa. They can call themselves giants, but what kind of a giant is that person who makes a child with somebody from another country just to get citizenship in that country? They are from failed states. They can't even build toilets, let alone clinics, and they are here. They come here to speak bad about our country. No, man. Viva Dudula.
This thing needs to be analyzed before the end of the week, you know.
Now we are dealing with hopeless people who have just totally given up. Like, they've got no intentions of fixing their countries whatsoever. You can even tell by the comments they are making here that we are just dealing with mindless creatures who have just given up. Not all of them, but most of them, judging by what we see and what they always say about us. Like, our forefathers fought for this minimum wage thing so that they are not exploited by the employers. And then we've got people who call themselves our brothers and sisters, who settle for peanuts in order to be relevant in the market. Like, that is so anti-revolutionary and so anti-African of them, because they come here and tell us that it's because we are lazy, that's why they are favored. No, they're not being favored because they are much more active than us. It is simply because they are easily exploited and they are settling for that. That is a mentality of a person who has just given up, who has no hope at all, who can settle for just anything. And we are not willing to do that. We have never done that. We're not going to do it now.
To everyone who is sharing the live and retweeting and contributing in different ways, we appreciate that. And Ntlanzendle, you're 100% right. You know, every time I encounter Zimbabweans like this arrogant weirdo, the less Zimbabwean life means to me, you know. Like, last time I saw a bus which overturned and 42 of them lost their lives. I felt satisfied, I'm sorry to say, you know, because this is basically how they regard us. You know, Mame Surubele is not insulting anybody. She's making a polite argument, and some weirdo comes and insults her. Now, how are we expected to value the lives of such people? Their lives, the more they talk, the more their life loses value to me. You know, I remember during the 2019 riots in Ntlanzendle, I saw somebody having his eyes removed with a spear. Around that time, I was traumatized to say, no, this is too much. But when people behave like this, I have a retrospective sense of sadistic satisfaction, you know. I now remember that video with pleasure to say, you know what? Actually, I shouldn't have been traumatized. I should have celebrated. These are worthless people. Their lives are not worth anything. And they should suffer And in fact, ZANU is doing the right thing. They deserve everything they are getting from ZANU.
The more they talk, is the more they expose themselves. Like, I think it's working in our favor somehow as patriots, because it is the more they expose themselves of who they truly are. Like, they've got no intention of living in harmony with us. They're just here trying to replace us. Yeah, but they're just here trying to prove a point to a master that they can be better slaves than us. So I really don't take them seriously. So all this noise they're making, it shows that it's getting hot. It's getting hot. They can feel the heat. So we really shouldn't pay much attention to them. We just need to do what we need to do in order for us to fix our country. Because we cannot be moving one step forward and 10 steps backwards because of the people who just come here and destroy whatever we're trying to fight for in this country. Like, we can never prosper with them here doing all sorts of these things that they are doing. Because right now, my fear is most of them, wherever they come from, they don't get along. And it's only a matter of time until they start all these wars that they've been fighting at home and starting them here. And I'm just wondering if we have got the capacity to control that, because it seems like you are busy accepting people non-stop, and like we've got no power to control them. And one of the SANDF commanders mentioned it, I think last year, and he was criticized. He said, you cannot play Big Brother while you've got no power to control when people are not afraid of you. So it worries me. It worries me in terms of our safety and everything. And right now, we are dealing with people who are saying they are running from wars, whereas we're not seeing, we're just seeing a majority of men, strong military men, flocking into our country, leaving women and children behind. Like, how the hell will I run from war and leave my family behind, leave my woman, leave my children behind, and then claim that I'm running from war, leaving them in danger, and then keeping myself safe? It really doesn't make sense somehow.
The other day, there was a Nigerian on some panel, right? And he was doing this thing of trying to argue himself into acceptance, you know when they argue, okay, if I do 1, 2, 3, am I not South African? What if I do this? What if I'm like that? When they try to argue themselves into acceptance. So he was saying, so if you go to America, he's using us as South Africans as a hypothesis to say, you as a South African, if you go to America and you marry an American. And it was telling, because he was reflecting their mindset. And I asked the question, why would I go to America without a wife to begin with? You see, if I'm old enough to go to America, I should start by getting a wife so that we can do our thing together in America. But I was crushing this hypothesis of saying it's almost automatic that whenever you go to another country, you will find a wife there in front. We understand. So they have this mentality of saying a man migrates by himself, not with his family. This is how their mind is oriented. I'm going to America to find a wife. And it goes back to what Sasha said one day, and he said, they don't marry just out of love and whatever. They are not marrying a woman, they are marrying a country. You see, they marry in order to belong to that country. You see, so pathetic.
Yeah, it is even a taboo for a South African man. Let us say maybe as I'm staying at Chimpangeni, and then I get a girl staying in Durban.
But you panelists, just under a minute. So
Okay.
that we can welcome the new panelists.
Okay. Let me just give them a chance.
All right, no problem, Doc. Jones Y. Chaza.
Yes, how's it, my leader? How are you?
All right, we are all right.
Yeah, no, man, I've been listening to this discussion, and at some point whereby I'm from Malawi, I feel like when people are traveling, going other people's countries, they need to travel with purpose, man. Not just to travel, then to go there and become a burden. I always say that South Africa, at some point we need to thank you guys. To reach to this point of complaining on your situation based on the illegal migrants, you had it enough and you have it enough. So we have to appreciate it, because some of us, we couldn't become the business personnel successful so if it wasn't South Africa. But it comes a time whereby you exit. You say, hey, I can't be here all the time. I mean, like, the country welcomed me nicely, and then I have to go back to my country. It's not about me forcing myself to stay in your country all the time. I have to insert you. But let me tell you something, the situation what that is on the ground, the reality on the ground. Most of the people that came to South Africa to live their countries, they never had homes. Now they have houses, beautiful houses, so they build because of South Africa. So, I mean, like, it's high time to give you guys chance also to leave your country peacefully, so without fighting legally or illegally. I always say this. Let us go prepare our countries. It's not about fighting with you guys, insulting you guys. No. You've done enough, and you have welcomed enough people with the hospitality. And I always say South Africans are good people, because some of South Africans, we are doing business together, and I see how they behave in other people's countries. So let us leave you in peace. Not you guys to fight for your own spaces. No. I always tell my people that, guys, let us leave. If South Africans say, let's leave. And don't wait for South Africans to say leave. Let us go build our own countries, so that also, maybe in future when things are difficult to them, they will also come in our countries to seek for potential and opportunities like we did ourselves before.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we would like to be left alone now. Like, we are up to our necks, and people are provoking us and antagonizing us. And by the way, how often have you heard a Zimbabwean saying something good about South Africa? Just saying, oh, South Africa is such a wonderful place. The only time they ever speak is when they want to seem like victims, victimized by South African, xenophobia, the hospital was negligent, I'm suing, like entitled children, Nothing is worse than an orphan being raised by foster parents, only for her to become an unruly child towards those foster parents. Instead of rewarding their sacrifice of raising this person who doesn't even belong to them, the least you can do is reward these parents who chose you when nobody wanted you. Nobody wanted you. Guys, nobody cares about Zimbabweans. I hate to break it to Zimbabweans. Nobody cares about Zimbabweans. Their own government doesn't care. The world doesn't care, because how did Mugabe continue being a recognized president after Kukurahundi? How do you get to commit a genocide and still shake hands with presidents all over the world? It shows that Zimbabwean life in the eyes of the world is really not worth much. The only time Zimbabweans actually felt a certain degree of being cared for is in South Africa. That's why they are abusing this care. That's why they get to sue the government, which was generous enough of them to give them free health care. You know, they retaliate against that generosity by suing. These are Zimbabweans. You know, for example, there's this Zimbabwean kid host, before I bring in the new speaker, who likes to post videos saying, trying to trigger the Jews to say, oh, when you say this about Zimbabweans, are you implying that Jews, hey, Jews don't care about you, man? You think you are going to carry favor from Jews and then they start becoming an, hey, nobody has time to be an alliance of a Zimbabwean. Ramsey come in, I mean.
Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity. I was here on this panel earlier, and I did give such a submission. But yeah, for now, I heard when you guys, when I just joined again, I need you to understand that us Zimbabweans and you South Africans, there are things that we take serious that you don't see the value, you as South Africans, or that you don't see the meaning. How could a person has to come to this decision and we don't see something wrong about it? And there are things that you also do that we cannot imagine. How could a human do this? But you are also okay about it. So point now making is, as Zimbabweans, when we go out of the country, abroad or wherever, we believe that after we acquire all the qualifications that we have to look deep into that qualification that you have in your pocket. Where does it pays you better? Then you follow your career to that extent that you can extreme until the last level that you should go far with that qualification. So if you see me going to cruise ships, following my wind and turbines, going over heights, there is the job in Zimbabwe, but that industry is rare in Zimbabwe. But my father sold the kettles to pay for school fees, to get me the degree, get me whatever that I needed to qualify. So he expects me to be someone better, not someone who sit back and cry. Someone who sit back and cry, that's what we call a coward in our country, of which is vice versa. In South Africa, when someone leaves his country to follow his career, then they say that guy is a coward. So we are different on that.
No, that's not true. That's
what I heard. They said, how do you come to leave your home and go abroad? That's being a coward. This is what I heard most of platforms like that.
Meaning, how are you comfortable leaving your country in such a state?
Sorry, may I beg your pardon?
What he basically meant was, how can you be comfortable?
What is he saying?
Comfort.
He was.
I'm following my winds and turbines. I am the TikTok equivalent of Shakespeare. Hey man, talk something that makes sense, man. What are you saying?
Right. The thing is,
that's not right.
Yeah, I'll understand. Overseas. When I go overseas, I go to work. I follow my qualifications. I'm not running away from Zimbabwe.
Winds and turbines, where does winds and turbines get involved?
That's the qualifications that I have.
Can I ask you something, Ramsey? Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you something, man. Please.
No, I want to ask him first.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Evening, commanders. So, Ramsey, what we're basically saying is that, you are basically you're saying that you're running away from you are leaving your country to follow your qualifications, right? So, yes. we are saying that why leave your country in such leadership of tyrants and people who are destroying your country? That is what we see as cowardly. Moving away from your country and whatever, and going to chase your dreams and whatever. Nothing wrong with that, but there's something wrong with it when all of you are leaving while your country is being ran by people who are evil and destroying your country, and your country is literally under the water. There's no glimpse of hope. Your country is completely bleak. What do you think about that? What do you think about our perspective from that point?
Okay, brother. Sorry for saying, brother. Maybe you're not comfortable about that. The first thing, when we talk about a normal person, right, is to see that now South Africa doesn't like us anymore. I have to go home. I have to find another place to be. This means you are normal to see and to detect the situation that you are facing right now. I'm no longer being liked here. I have to move. Right. Now, as a Zimbabwean citizens, I have to see that I have to vote for the new party, for the new government. Then you try that. Then you see it's not working. You cannot sit back and cry and doing nothing for yourself. You can try to do something to make yourself better, because this you tried. You cannot keep trying something that is not even working. This is ZANU-PF. Even you can look at it on yourself, on your perspective. Who is the leader of the opposition? There's no one. There's no one. ZANU-PF already is campaigning, but we don't have any.
No.
I just wanted to ask a question, which is open to any panelist to answer. Guys, there's something ZANU-PF did to convince Zimbabweans that ZANU is so formidable and indestructible, and it's an insurmountable challenge. Now, we need to look at the ZANU recipe, and see if we can imitate what they did so that Zimbabweans can give up on South Africa as well. You see, the same way they gave up on Zimbabwe, the same way ZANU demoralized them to where they've just given up on any hope of changing Zimbabwe and having Zimbabwe as their home. We must look at the book of ZANU and learn from them. What are they doing? Did they use batons? What did they use to make Zimbabweans just give up on a country? Now we must use that method to make them give up on South Africa.
Mr. Ramsey.
Yeah, Ramsey.
Man,
Okay.
I've got a question, man. Please, let me ask you. Yeah, I know. Maybe you might know Harare better than I.
No,
Do you know the place called Gava?
no, I don't know.
But do you know Harare?
I cannot say I don't know Harare. I just pass, but I don't know. When you know a place, you know the location, the shops in town, corners of the town. So I don't
So
know that far.
where are you from?
I'm from Mutare.
Oh, you from Mutare? Okay. Yeah. So you see the insured hand. Why I'm asking you is because I'm traveling because of my work. I'm doing mining. So I've been in Mutare. You see Mashpanda border, side of Mashpanda border. Neighboring Manika, we are also mining there. So I see most of the people. We had this conversation with people from Zimbabwe about issues with South Africa. So most of your people, they are saying that, especially people who are leaving Zimbabwe, coming to South Africa or going to South Africa, are lazy and stupid, and they don't want to face the challenge in the country. What can you say about that?
No. Now you are not talking right. You are swearing. You are not being professional.
It's not me. It's not me. I can even brought you on the panel that they say so also. These are the words of Zimbabweans, not South Africans.
I'm a Zimbabwe. I never say to someone you are stupid.
Not me. I'm saying most of this. We had this conversation at Gava restaurant in Harare. Not everyone in Zimbabwe is in favor of Zimbabweans leaving their country to go to South Africa. They said
Okay. No,
most of the
understood.
people that are leaving this country to go to South Africa or other countries, they are cowards. They are not. They don't want to face the challenges, and they are also stupid.
They are.
You know why they say that? Let me make it clear. If you can take now 2 people from Zimbabwe on this panel, someone can tell you that Zimbabwe is doing great. Zimbabwe is rebuilding, is getting better economically. And yet, the other one will tell you Zimbabwe will never be the same. It will take 20 years to be fine or more. So this is the 2 people that you need to unite to fight Zambia. So where do you think these 2 people will go? This one is supporting Zambia, telling you Zimbabwe is doing great. This one is fighting for Zimbabwe to be great. So tell me, someone is telling you those abroad, they are stupid because he's benefiting from this.
But Ramsey, another thing that I have to correct, you are trying to decorate your trapa with poetic ways. All these winds and turbines and what, it doesn't work. You don't leave Zimbabwe because you are ambitious. You leave Zimbabwe because you are desperate. You don't leave Zimbabwe because you want to spread your wings. You leave because you don't even have those wings. ZANU has clipped your wings. You are going to another country so that you can have wings. So don't try to decorate your desk. Well, no, you even call yourself refugees. What do they call economic refugees? Isn't it?
I have Musa here, I have Tsepo here, those are South Africans. We are on insurance, we have our visas, we have our green cards, we have everything.
But also,
So,
you just
why
called
that?
us lazy. Wait, Rems, you just called us lazy and uneducated in your own way.
Ooh, when
You said
did
that.
they
No,
say that?
listen. You said that when you are in Zimbabwe, you study and then you look at that career, you study and you take it forth. What makes you think that South Africans are not doing that?
No, I think
What
what he
makes you
said
think
is
that we are
that
not? Basically,
Mama
what you had
Suruwe,
just said is yes.
he said that they see value where, almost like they see value where we don't see it. Something to that
Exactly.
effect.
He said that
things
there are things in South
differently.
Africa that South Africans don't see value and they see. Listen, those things were built by us. They were built by us. If we want to see value, we'll see value. If it's our country. If I want to be lazy in my country, I'm lazy in my country, not in Zimbabwe. We're not Genapi. Where
I
do
mean,
you
but
enter?
Mama
Wait,
Suruwe,
if you are going to study, and become an engineer, right? Go and be an engineer in Zimbabwe. Currently, Nigeria and Zimbabwean presidents are complaining about the brain drain, saying that their citizens are born there, they study outside, and they never come back. Who's going to build your country? You are busy saying One Africa, let's trade together. Who's going to build those facilities to trade? To trade, we need roads. You need toilets before you can build those roads. Nigeria has Dangote Testament, but they're struggling to build toilets.
Even
They're
that
struggling to build toilets. We are studying. Let me tell you, right now, I am doing my postgrad. Once I pass, I want to go forth and do my master's. I am interested in my career and I'm moving forth. And let me tell you, in the company that I work with, they are studying those people. And they are South Africans. They are studying. So don't come here and tell us bull. Just because you found a chance to study and maybe you are hurt because your father had to sell his wealth. I was lucky I got into a company. They are paying for my studies. South Africa has those facilities whereby once you get employed, you are eligible for that country, for that company to develop you, continuous development. Those are mechanisms that were brought in place by a black man. Just like the BEE was bought by a black man. And if it wasn't for BEE, I wouldn't be a risk specialist. What are you guys doing? with whatever you are studying and you are saying, hey, South Africans are not using their education. What education are you using to make sure that the country is offering your citizens a better way of life? You don't have BEE. You don't have these funds like the previous Zimbabwean who came to this channel and said that, yeah, you South Africans don't have 5 million to start a business, but you expect foreigners to have 5 million. Listen, today, right now, I can have a business idea and pitch it to my government. They will, if they like it, they will fund it. They will fund it. I don't have to have that 5 million because you can't compare me as a citizen with you as an international orphan. You are nothing to us. You're not even registered in our system if you're not bringing rare skills here. So stop calling South Africans lazy. Stop
panelist session.
Okay. Triple M, please come in.
Triple MH Jack, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, you can submit.
All right. Hey, but I'm always wondering, why always you talk about Zimbabwean? Why?
You want to submit or do you want to ask why we talk about Zimbabwe?
Let me just play something, Wena.
I want to submit.
You want to submit? Listen to this. What language are these people speaking?
Which people?
Did you not hear me play a clip here?
It's Shona. It's my language.
No, it's not me.
Exactly.
It's not me.
Exactly. It's Shona, right? So you people are
I don't run away from my
every time I step out of my gate, I see new faces with the same language, Shona. I go to town, I go to church, even when I get on a local public transport, there will never be a shortage of your people. So you people, even if I try to ignore you people, you are in my face. You are everywhere.
Yeah,
You
this
are
is what I always
wait, Ramzi, I'm the host. Can you please respect me? A month ago, thank you, Observer. A month ago, I went to town, right? Our small town, then our nearest town, not the city. And 80% of that taxi, it was occupied by foreigners. So tell me if this is normal, guys. Like, there has never been a time when I got in a taxi and it was only South Africans, even if it's a local taxi. Mind you, my mall is a walking distance of about 30 minutes. But if I'm buying a lot of things, I have to get in I have to use a taxi. And I will always find Mozambicans, but Zimbabweans, they are always the majority. You know, so you can't be asking me this question that why are you always talking about Zimbabweans when you guys are you are too much. It's over. It's not even funny because even the majority of the crimes that are being committed in my country, in South Africa, it's committed by your people. You've even brought in new crimes that we never used to have before. Yes. You even brought in new crimes that we never used to have before. Yes. Yes, I'm serious. Let me just quickly play a clip in case you think maybe I'm joking. I played this earlier on, but I see that we've got more people now on this live. Oh my goodness, I'm struggling on my other phone. I'm gonna have to move closer to the Wi-Fi. You can come in while I wait for.
Okay, host, just to emphasize your point, you know, even when you stretch your hands like this, just to loosen up, you hit a Zimbabwe by mistake. That's how much we are completely surrounded by Zimbabweans in our own country, you know? And you are telling us we mustn't talk about Zimbabweans, you are crazy.
But you guys, I respect you. I respect you. You gave us everything. You know, the truth is
You don't, but no, that's not, especially Shonas. You know, it's very weird that you're saying Shonas are the most disrespectful Zimbos that I've ever come across. Shonas are just worse. You guys are insufferable, to be quite honest.
But the truth is the truth. As for me, I appreciate. I always urge my homies that no, this is the time now for you guys to find
Not
a
to
way.
mention cruel. Like when you get attacked by a Shona and their intention is to analyze you, there's no chance of surviving. You guys are
Ramsey, wait a minute. You'll respect us later. We have new panelists. Triple M, you want to submit or you still want to question our decisions?